Before we get started, just a quick note, spoiler alert.
And we are adults, and I will try very hard not to use adult language, but this is the warning.
Hello, and welcome back to Fright Bites. My name is Jennifer.
And I'm Sadina. Each episode, we will feature a short story or novella. You can read along with us by finding the full reading list posted on our website, lastlibraryonTheLeft.com, or our social media at LLOTL Podcast.
Before we even go into the book, I just want to say I like how cute and docile your voice sounds. You're like, and I'm Sadina. So, like you can go hood real quick.
Yeah. I'll go through sometimes to check the audio recording and make sure it doesn't decay as I pass it by different systems or whatever. And so I was hitting the 30-second jump thing and it was like, hello. And then it was like all dark and deep later. And then I was like, what is wrong with me?
It's really cute. Every time I re-listen, I'm like, look at her with her little just cute and pink and bubbly bubblegum girl. 10 minutes later, it's like, man, fuck that guy.
Oh my God, you're not wrong.
I mean, I appreciate it. I just had to say it before we even go into talking about the book. Okay, back on track. So today we are talking about Bedfellow by Jeremy Shipp. And Bedfellow was published in 2018 by Tor.com. Before I go into the summary, I just want to quickly... So Jeremy Shipp retweeted our tweet about their previous book, The Atrocities. And I don't know if we misgendered them. And I hope we didn't. And I sincerely apologize if we did, because I didn't realize that Jeremy goes by they, them pronouns.
Same.
So
if we did, we're very sorry.
Yes, we wholeheartedly did not mean to. So I just wanted to put it out there in the podcast. I don't think we did, but I'll go back and re-listen. But just in case we did, it was not our intention to do that. With that being said, let's get right into the summary for Bedfellow. First and last sentence. It broke into their home and set up residence in their minds. It's psychological warfare. Sanity is optional. And yeah, this was psychological warfare on my mind.
So I was telling Jennifer in pre-production that about halfway through the book, I stopped trying to keep track of the pieces of their memory that he was warping, because I could tell that he was finding repeated favorites, instances in their memories, like penguins for Kennedy. There were dinosaurs and ducks that kept repeating, and he was just using those as ways to dig deeper into their memories.
Yeah.
And it was so insidious and so subtle. And I was like, wow, he's really trying to find not painful ways to dig deeper into their memories and like plant himself there.
Yeah, it was so weird. So this book opens up to what you think is going to be a home invasion. The head of the household, Hendrix, is there being mouthy almost to this intruder, and then goes into the intruder is not an intruder but needs a place to stay, and he saved their son Tomas earlier that evening. And then as the book progresses, it's a co-worker of Hendrix, and then it's just a family friend, and then it eventually turns into he's the uncle, and Hendrix and him are twin brothers. And I was like, wait.
Yeah, it went from uncle in the sense of a family friend to legitimate uncle to twin to fraternal twin. Thomas, though, before Kennedy became my favorite character, Thomas I thought was going to be the one to crack it all wide open.
Yeah.
Because his prescription kept sort of allowing him to see past and see the real thing.
I thought Thomas was going to do the same thing. He kept giving me that little kid from It vibes, from the newer ones. Like I kept thinking of that little boy in the yellow raincoat. Like you, I thought that he was going to be the one who was going to see what was really going on, because usually little kids are the ones that see it anyways, right? When the whole thing with his bully came up, I was like, oh yeah, he's not going to see anything. So it was kind of weird that...
Oh my God, sorry, I just figured out something.
What?
Okay, we'll talk about it in just a second. I have to write it down or else I'll forget.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, keep going.
So I thought Tomas was going to figure out, but when the bully thing came up, I was like, no, he's not going to. I was kind of surprised that Kennedy was the one that was figuring things out, because I thought the mom would be, because the mom was the one who questioned everything the most.
She really did. She questioned everything, but because she had anxiety and suffered from trauma in her past and distrusting her caregivers that she shouldn't have had to distrust, she kept questioning her own distrust. She would like talk herself out of her anxiety when her anxiety was perfectly well placed.
Yeah, I was really hoping that she would figure things out, and she never really did. This was the worst kind of home invasion, I wrote down, because you already feel violated when there's an intruder in the house. But the fact that this Marvin guy could go into your head and like manipulate your memories just was really unnerving to me.
It wasn't until they started making the allusions to the butterfly and the chrysalis, I started thinking about the green goo from the very beginning and all the quote unquote Gatorade that he was drinking.
Yeah.
And that he eventually burst and gave out those little creatures, those little Marvins. Yeah. I was like, oh, he meant that he's the butterfly, he's the chrysalis. And sometimes when you got a glimpse of his true self, he looked like a worm.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. But he was gross.
See, so there was, because he had a little project that people were helping him on. Mom was sewing things for him, and Tomas was drawing objects that would later become three-dimensional. And I really liked the cover of this book. It was really kind of creepy. The cover of it has a house and a little creature playing with 4 people in the house. And I was like, oh, he's recreating the house. I was so fixated on it. I didn't realize it was a red herring this whole time because his body, like you said, is the chrysalis. Oh my gosh. Because I followed the red herring and I was like, where's the house? Come on, give me the house.
Well, I mean, the house was kind of there because he recreated it in the Amazon box, but not like the house itself. He recreated just another scene. It sounds like he's done this before. The Marvins were talking about how like frequently he does this. Yeah. So I think that he is consuming people and that they're somehow living in these little doll houses that he recreates. Yeah. I don't know. It was good, but it was really strange. And also sometimes the things that he made the family think, because at the very end, this is not, trust me guys, this is not necessarily spoiling anything because the whole thing is a wild ride and you're not entirely sure like what is true perception and what is not.
Right. Yeah. As the reader, you're just like, wait, what? I thought that, yeah, I was confused the whole time in a good way though.
In a good way, because he consumes the father, but the father thinks that he's being transported through some type of transcendental enlightenment and he starts seeing Marvin as a god, but he's like inherently afraid.
Yeah.
And he's like, why am I afraid? This is my god. And that was a reoccurring thing where Thomas was constantly crying or Kennedy was unnerved or brought to tears over something. And it was because they were on some, maybe not human, maybe on some like serpent brain level shit from our past. That part of them was like, this is not okay.
Right. Yeah, maybe. This one was such an oddball book. The ending was so abrupt, and normally I like abrupt endings, but this one I had some questions and I was like, woo, you didn't answer some of my questions.
Wait, what were your questions? Because I thought it ended pretty well.
My questions were because Marvin, so I mean we're gonna give spoilers, but you already know the spoiler alert. Marvin sort of let them go, and he
didn't.
He didn't?
It was the little Marvin. It was Kennedy's Marvin.
But I wonder if the big Marvin was, because he had that little throwaway sentence when he was talking to Hendrix, like, oh, like the best thing that you had that you didn't even realize was your family. And so I wonder if on some level he knew and he spared them.
No, because he was pissed that the little Marvin tried getting them out of it the first time. He killed Thomas's Marvin.
Yeah.
He threatened Kennedy's Marvin.
Yeah.
And was like, I'll give you a second chance if you can prove to me that you didn't betray me.
Yeah.
And the little Marvin was like, I don't think I did, but I forced myself to forget. And so he was like, well, dig deep. And so you find out that the little Marvin, what he did was that he planted a memory to be triggered in Thomas. And Big Marvin knew something was up, but I don't think he realized that the little Marvin actually got away with it because he thought that he had stopped it.
I don't know why I misinterpreted it, because I just kept thinking like, maybe he's okay with it. Just because of that one sentence, like the best thing you had, you didn't even know you had it. Looking down on this human, I was like, okay.
Well, because Big Marvin said something like, if they're smart, they won't be coming back here. So that makes me think he would have fed on them if they did come back.
That's true. Well, thank you for answering my question.
I do have a theory though, because that was what you sparked. So Thomas invites his schoolyard bully to the home because his little Marvin is like, oh, well, Big Marvin can help you take care of him. And so like the mom drops him off and he winds up getting consumed by Big Marvin. And so all their memories are rewritten to believe that Everest never actually came to the house.
Yeah.
He was sick and he couldn't come to dinner. So when the mom comes to pick him up, they're confused. And then Marvin goes in and like alters her memory too. And it was like, oh, that's right. Now the story is that the bullying has come out and that her son is homesick and she came to apologize apologize for the bullying. But Marvin sent her home with one of the little Marvins because the little Marvin was like, I don't want to go with her. And he's like, I know, but like keep her distracted for now. And so the little Marvin went with her. And I was like, what if, since he didn't get his full meal out of that family, what if now that he's got an in with this other family, he goes and he preys on that family?
Oh, yeah. Clearly he's done this before.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Good theory. I don't see why not.
Right? He needs his full meal. He like was weak from all of the manipulation and things like that. So he needed to feed. It's clearly a cycle for him.
Right. Because I said he's not as strong as he used to be.
Right. So sending off one of his little Marvins, because when he did that, I was like, well, how is he going to collect him? But now that he's lost out on his meal, that's an easy in for a new meal.
Yeah. Oh. That's a good one. You blew my mind. It's so creepy. This book was so scary in all the right ways. I think the true horror for me was the manipulation of the memories and stuff, but everything else was kind of not as scary. But that part really freaked me out, the manipulation of the memories. And when because Kennedy's like, oh, I'm remembering two memories at the same time. And I was like, oh, that's not good. So that aspect of them recalling their true memory and fighting against the manipulated one, that was the true horror for me as opposed to the alien stuff.
The only real question I have, why was Cinnamon a problem?
Yes, I kept wondering that too. Like, why was Cinnamon such a problem?
Because man, he destroyed that little plug-in air freshener.
Yeah, and he kept saying like, she likes cinnamon so much.
Maybe it's bad for like some type of bugs. You know how like some people put certain spices or something in their gardens to keep out slugs?
Yeah, because I think cinnamon you put out for ants.
Oh.
Yeah, it's an ant repellent.
Huh. Well, they did kind of have a hive mind, those Marvins.
Don't do that to me with the hive mind. For real, though, it has to be because it's a repellent.
Yeah.
So one thing that I wrote, and this is just a funny little whatever, in the very beginning of the book, they make a mention of saying that he's wearing a Space Jam shirt.
Yes.
And then like when Kennedy is recalling, she's like, he's wearing a Bugs Bunny shirt. Already I was like, oh crap, he's already playing with their minds.
Yeah.
I gotta keep track of this shit. And then I was like, oh wait, Kennedy is younger. Kennedy probably didn't know what Space Jam was.
Oh, shit,
and so then
right.
I felt old. So I was like, well, thanks.
So I don't know about you, but because the Bugs Bunny, the Space Jam, all those Looney Tunes references, every time they called him Marvin, I thought Marvin Martian.
Yes, I did.
Every single time.
So every time they did that, yes, Marvin Martian, and then I was like Jimi Hendrix and Imani. I think that's a model. I was just full with pop culture references in my head and just trying to get it straight with this book. I don't know that I would say this was better than the Atrocities because I like that one a lot better. But this is a good follow-up to it.
It was well written, and I think that it was interesting in that because as the reader getting the inside of all the different characters, it's not subtle the way he's manipulating their memories.
Yeah.
You're getting to see him do it to all of them. But once the little Marvins are born, it becomes like a whole different story. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a part of me that really wanted it to be true that the little Marvins were meant to be their helpers, and I was like, that's not the story here, Sedina. The family's gonna die or be trapped in some other dimension in the Amazon box that he turned into their new home. It's not gonna have a good ending, but then it did.
Yeah,
sort of.
It did. Did you ever watch the old 90s film Wishmaster?
No, wait, is that the one? No, that's Pagemaster. I was thinking of the one with Macaulay Culkin.
So this is a horror, and it's about the Jinn. And so basically what happens is this Jinn gets released from a gem. He makes your wishes come true, but he does it kind of subtly. And the wishes that you want always have some sort of kickback. So say the woman that says she wants to be young forever, when he asks her, is this what you wish for? She's like, yes. Eventually she'll get turned into a mannequin and she'll be living inside of the mannequin. So she will be young forever as a mannequin. And so I kept thinking about this specific movie because I was like, oh, these little Marvins are going to make some wish come true. And that's how the family is going to get trapped by the big Marvin. I mean, that didn't happen, but it was still a great ending.
I mean, it could have gone. I could see how you would come to that conclusion because the father wanted a life that he didn't have. He said he thought he deserved. Okay, whatever, bro.
Yeah.
He basically just wanted to have an affair.
Yeah, he did.
I couldn't tell if Morgaine was a real person he had met or just a pre-recorded sex tape.
I know. I thought it was a real person, and then when he was listening to her in the car, I was like,
is that a thing? Are there pre-recorded sex tapes? Like, that was weird. Also, bro, you're listening to it in your car? That is real bold.
So part of this book, because there were so many like 80s, 90s references, I kept thinking that we were back in those times.
Oh.
But we were clearly in modern day because the girl was talking about the emojis and the cell phones and stuff. So there could be that aspect of it now, pre-recorded, that you could purchase or download or something. And then when he kept going down into the basement and removing the bricks, I didn't think that he was embezzling money. I was like, there's a dead body back there.
Even when they discovered that it was money, I didn't realize it was embezzlement. I thought he just had a gambling problem or something and was hiding his winnings from his wife.
Yeah, no, I was like, there's for sure a dead body behind those bricks. Nope.
Imani never really kind of decides to cash in her, I guess, her wish.
Yeah.
Because Marvin keeps trying to talk to her and tease out what it is she wants.
She's like, oh, I love that I can check in on my kids without having their phones.
Thomas, his wish wasn't really his wish, though. His Marvin kind of took it.
Yeah.
And then that was why that Marvin got in trouble, because Big Marvin was like, you shouldn't have done that.
I mean, he was kind of pushy. Like, I felt so bad for little Thomas when all those memories of all the bullying, like, came upon him all at once. And I was like, oh, you poor baby.
Can we just talk about the little shit that he was, not Thomas, but that Everest was? Because
oh my God, yeah.
The things he was saying to him, being like, oh, but Mark said. And I was like, no, Mark didn't say shit. That was you. Like,
yeah.
He made me mad. I was like, look, you here, you little turd.
I know. I was just like, you flick that kid in front of me and I'll flick you. Oh my, I was so mad.
It made me wonder, how do you go from flicking to being like, I heard your mom wish that you had died in her womb? That is a hell of you are a little psychopath.
I know, right? Like, what's happening in his home that comes out of his mouth? Something's off. But yeah, I hated that Everest kid.
Me too. Because I don't want kids to be bad. And so I kept trying to figure out why he was the way he was. I was like, you know what? No, you're just a little shit. Sometimes kids are just little shits.
I mean, listen, I don't claim to be the best parent in the world because even sometimes I ignore the hell out of my kid. When I'm reading, leave me the hell alone. And like my sister catches it because I live with my sister. So my sister catches like, oh, she was doing this. Thanks, because I was a bad parent in that moment. I fully acknowledge it. I have my good and my bad moments, but we know well enough. I have that backup system so that I can slack off every now and again because she'll get on her because they need that.
They do. Kennedy's little Marvin picking out that pedophile. That was, man.
I know.
That was probably the scariest part in the book.
That was so scary.
Like, oh no. That little Marvin got her back. So
yeah, that little Marvin was so redeeming. I liked that little Marvin. The only thing I wrote here was I didn't mind what happened to Hendrix because he was a douche. At the end where he's like, I didn't think I was going to get here, but that just goes to show that I'm worthy. I was like, okay, sir.
Yeah.
Overall, great book. Again, Jeremy Shipp is probably an author that I will read over and over again because I really like their books.
Yeah. Also, such different writing styles between Atrocities and Bedfellow.
We went from like gothic horror to dark psychological horror. Anyways, we hope y'all enjoy it. We sure did.
Yeah, we did. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. If you liked listening to us ramble on about horror, subscribe to our podcast and tell your friends. And if you would like to follow us on social media, you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at LLOTL Podcast.
Check out our website by going to lastlibraryontheleft.com. Be sure to visit our About Us page to discover our 2 truths and a lie. Or, if you'd like to send us an email, you can reach us at somethingwicked@lastlibraryonTheLeft.com.